Hello and good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar session brought to you by Shiksha.com and University College Dublin, Ireland. Students, this is an informative session about MA in Journalism program offered by University College Dublin in partnership with CNN Academy. Before we move further, I would like to introduce our presenter from the university today and from CNN Academy. So our first presenter is Mr. Liam Kennedy. He is the director at Clinton Institute of American Studies at UCD. Our second presenter is Mr. Ali Reza Hazi Hosseini. He's the director at CNN Academy. And our third presenter is Ms. Surabhi Joshi. She's the country manager South Asia at UCD. I welcome all three of you today, and thank you for taking out the time today for the session. Student, for all of you, I will request if you have questions, please post your questions in the question section. We will take all the questions at the end of the session. And if you wish to ask questions directly to the presenters, please click on the raise hand tab. I will unmute you and you can ask your questions to them directly. I would now request Liam to please start with the session. Thank you.
Lakshmi, thank you so much, and thank you for organizing this, and thank you to Surabhi as well. As Lakshmi said, I'm Liam Kennedy. I'm Professor Liam Kennedy, Director of the Clinton Institute at University College Dublin. And in collaboration with Ali Reza here, I hope you can see us both, we have put together this, we think, very innovative and very exciting master's program. It's innovative not least because this is the first MA program in the world in English that CNN has collaborated with a major university to create. And so this is a co-creation, a co-production, and will be co-delivered by University College Dublin and CNN. And that's something we're very excited about. We're also very happy to talk to you about any aspect of that. We'll tell you as much as we know about it, but we want your questions. So please add those to the box, and at the end, ask us anything you like about this program. So I'm going to pass over to Ali because he's going to cover the main outlines and features of the program, but most especially, he will tell you about the very dedicated CNN involvement in this program. Ali, hi.
Thanks, Liam, and it's great seeing you and great being on this webinar and hopefully answering some of your questions that you might have about this program. We at CNN and at CNN Academy are super excited about this opportunity to link up with University College Dublin and the Clinton Institute specifically. The program that we have put together, as Liam said, is a real fascinating opportunity to bring together some of the best practices of the newsroom and marry them up and connect them with the sort of academic rigor of the UCD Clinton Institute. But before we go ahead, here's a little video that you might have seen elsewhere as well, but just to give you a sense of what we're talking about.
For 40 years, CNN has earned its place in the world as the most trusted name in news.
I dedicate the news channel, the cable news network.
From war zones,
they're not just lobbing stuff with each other, they're trying to take each other's territory,
to marking the most important moments of our time, going there and being there first.
What we see here today is all a result of a conspiracy theory, and it's playing out in the streets of the nation's capital.
And now it's your chance to learn from the undisputed news leader in the world, right in the heart of the Irish capital, Dublin. Introducing CNN Academy and University College Dublin's Masters in Journalism and International Affairs. An immersive graduate program combining world-class journalism education with industry-led practical training and expertise. Discover what is impacting our world and how you can report stories objectively for a global audience. Engage with the very best of the legacy brand that is CNN and the academic expertise of University College Dublin's Clinton Institute. The Masters in Journalism and International Affairs. Your stepping stone to a career in journalism, politics, or business. You have arrived at the capstone. Come and start your journey with us.
So indeed, we believe that this program builds on the legacy of training journalists that we have at CNN. As some of you might know, we were established by Ted Turner in the 80s, and since then we have had this relationship with global journalists through our CNN fellowship program, where we have trained over 1,200 journalists from 400 media organizations who have come through our program, who have seen what CNN journalists do on a daily basis. How do we deliver our sort of world-class journalism? How do we get the stories? How do we fact check? How do we ensure that we are engaging with our audience through different sort of platforms, be it online or on TV? So we have that legacy of journalism training. We have the trust and credibility of the brand of CNN, which has been sort of attested to by so many different sort of awards from across the industry. So what we wanted to do is to combine that legacy and that pedigree of journalism training and bring that into the newsroom, into the classroom setting with this master's in journalism international affairs. In today's sort of media system, the ecosystem, you need to produce engaging content for digitally savvy, digitally first sort of consumers. A lot of you on this call are young sort of consumers of the news. You guys are way ahead of previous generations when it comes to sort of the consumption of news and media on sort of digital first platforms. And what we wanted to do is to introduce this first English language master's program to allow you, the next generation of content creators, to have those best practices and foundational knowledge that we can bring at CNN, combine that with the academic excellence of UCD Clinton Institute, and really graduate from this program being a world-class content creator with that knowledge and understanding of how international affairs operates, how the world operates. So not only know what you need to do from a production point of view, from a journalism point of view, but also have that academic sort of training and background about international affairs and global politics. The syllabus, as Liam mentioned, is a co-created, a co-collaboration between us at CNN Academy and the Clinton Institute. We want to connect the newsroom to the classroom, and that means that throughout this sort of program, you are going to be engaging with CNN journalists in exclusive live seminars on a weekly basis. You will meet CNN journalists from across the network doing different things, and more importantly, you are going to get the opportunity to apply the skills that you're picking up and the skills that the journalists are talking to you about in sort of practical training sessions where you're going to produce content, you're going to produce a podcast, you're going to produce a newsletter, you're going to produce an engaging piece of video that will go on social as well. So you are going to learn, you're going to connect with CNNers and journalists from across the world, and more importantly, you're going to produce content and you really apply those sort of practical skills in a real world setting as well. Sort of the trimester journey, if you think about it, and this is a sample trimester, at UCD we have 12-week sort of trimesters, and this program will be obviously over a 3-trimester period that Liam can talk more about, but we will have 2 trimesters of delivering lectures and seminars, and the final trimester is your opportunity to work on a final project. But just to give you a sense of what you will be doing on a weekly basis, you're going to be having workshops, live workshops from sort of CNN Academy trainers or CNN journalists that are around 2 hours each. And more importantly, you're going to have access to the CNN Academy Hub, where you will have these self-paced courses that you can take, and those might take you another additional 4 to 6 hours to finish. So each week you will engage with themes that come from the newsroom. How do you do multi-platform storytelling? How do you engage with an audience online? How do you use your mobile phone to shoot and produce really engaging stories? And again, that practical concept here, you're going to pitch a story to a panel of CNN journalists that you're going to work on each trimester as well. And for your final project, you're once again going to pitch a story that you think should be your final project. Then you're going to have the opportunity, you're going to learn the skills from the CNN journalists and academy trainers, and then you're going to have the opportunity to work on that story, and the best stories that are produced by the end of this program also have the opportunity, very rare opportunity, to be platformed on CNN as well. So the CNN Academy Hub is our e-learning platform. This is a dedicated platform that we have created where we have a whole bunch of courses. These are self-paced courses, so you do them at your own pace, at your own time, on various different stories. Everything from, you know, how do you get ready to go out on the road, in the field? How do you verify and confirm sort of reports that are emerging? What do you do during breaking news? So you will get to learn from CNN experts and journalists via the CNN Academy Hub. And just to give you a sense of what are the courses that you might engage with on the Hub, you know, these are some of the courses that we have on the Hub. And you can see the caliber of sort of talent from CNN that you will be able to engage with. You really our most sort of senior and seasoned correspondents and journalists. So with that, we can open it up to more questions or any other sort of points, Liam, that you think we should be discussing as well that I might have overlooked. But from our perspective, really the exciting thing about this program is this opportunity to bring that newsroom knowledge and marry that up with the sort of academic discussions that take place at UCD Clinton Institute.
Yeah, thanks, Ali. No, there's nothing overlooked at all. I might just say a little bit more about a couple of the points. One is this structure of trimesters that you mentioned. That may not be familiar to people from other parts of the world with different educational systems. So at University College Dublin, we work what we call a trimester system. In other words, there are 3 units of study. One is 12 weeks, is based on training, workshop, seminars. Another of 12 weeks, training, workshop, seminars. And then you have 12 to 15 weeks to create a multimedia dissertation. That can take many forms. It could be visual, it could be podcast-based, it could be film-based, documentary-based, or it could be a portfolio of textual journalism and so on. That's a great opportunity, again, to work very closely with the CNN folks. So that's the structure across 1 calendar year. The other thing I should say at this point up front is that the first year of this program will start in January of 2022, okay? So it starts and ends within the calendar year. It runs from January of 22 to December of 22. Thereafter, this program will start in September, and so September starts will become normative from 22 onwards. The other thing I would just add is that there are a range of academic modules supplementing the CNN modules. And some of those are very closely tied into the CNN modules. Some of them are more contextual. So, for example, there will be a module on the history and the political economy of the news industry, the international news industry, which, among other things, will explain where CNN came from in the first place and what it's doing out there. But also many of its acolytes and competitors, whether that's you know, Al Jazeera, BBC, but also all of these other news organizations that are so important to helping us understand the world that we live in, which, you know, have emerged around the NGOs and so on and so forth. So we'll learn about that deeper history. We'll also learn about particular context for big issues, whether that's immigration or climate change or the pandemic. We're very interested in these international issues, these transnational issues that affect all of us, and which really have to be understood in very particular ways and framed and reported on in ways that are informative and allow us to understand how we are all involved in these particular aspects of the world around us. So we really do want students to come forward who have that international outlook and that international interest, which I'm sure includes many who are listening today. So with that, and especially because Ali is still with us and he will have to leave a little earlier than I do. So if you have questions, and especially about the CNN input while Ali is still here, please do ask us.
Thank you so much, Liam, and thank you so much, Ali. And we have questions from students. Meanwhile, just to reiterate, students, if you wish to ask questions directly, I will request you to please click on the raise hand tab. I will unmute you and you can ask your questions. Meanwhile, I'll take some questions from the question section. So the first question is from Nidhi, and the student has asked, what would be the selection process for the program? Is it going to be similar like the other programs of the university, or there are some different selection criteria for this particular program?
Well, it's similar to most programs because, of course, we need to be very, very sure that we operate in a way that's consistent with how the university functions. But there are things a little bit different as well. Essentially, students will fill in the forms online that are easy to find. But we're also asking them, to tell us a bit about themselves, and particularly to tell us about what is their journalistic interest. Maybe you've already got some journalistic experience, or maybe you don't. But why do you want to do this course? And we look very carefully at the answers to that question. Students also have the opportunity, if they wish, to send samples of their work, which are of a journalistic nature, whether that's textual or audiovisual. That too will be important. So we're really trying to get a sense of what are students bringing forward to this and what vision do they have for their study. I should add that we are not insisting on a particular background. Students can come from almost any discipline to this, and they can also come from a more mature point in their career arc. They may have left university or college some years ago and be looking for a change. But again, we would be looking to see what is it that you want from this program. That's really key.
Okay. Moving to next question. The student has asked that after doing this program, will there be a campus placement? And what is the fee structure for the students for this particular program?
Well, there's two questions there, and Ali can help me answer the first one, because placements, usually people say that what they mean is there a kind of formal internship or something like that. There is no formal internship. What there is the opportunity to work incredibly closely with CNN, which is a very unusual opportunity. And it's there on a daily, on a weekly basis in the classes. It's there when you work on your multimedia thesis with CNN. That is an opportunity which I think will be transformative for some of the students who take this, if they grasp that opportunity. Ali, would you like to add to that?
Absolutely. I mean, if you think about an internship, it's usually a 2-3 month sort of placement in the newsroom. What we're going to be doing with this program is that every week you're going to be grappling with an issue within the newsroom. You're going to be meeting with journalists from across the network. But most importantly, you have a CNN Academy trainer that's dedicated to this program. They're going to be in the classroom. They're going to be guiding you. So all that sort of knowledge that you might pick up from being in a newsroom as an intern, you're going to be picking up throughout the course of this program. And then for that final project, you're going to have the opportunity to work on a multi-platform, sort of multimedia project that you would have pitched to a panel of CNN sort of journalists, and which then you will go out and will produce. And if it's a piece of work that meets CNN standards, you will also have the opportunity to see that go out on a CNN platform. So your work, will be featured in that. As once you graduate, you will have a tangible thing to show. This is what I learned from this program. This is what I was able to produce.
And I think that the tangibility of that is going to be incredibly important to build a CV to go forward into the next stage of your career journey. The question also posed, I think, an issue or a question around the fee structure. It was
regarding the fee structure. Yes, the fee structure of this particular program.
Oh, okay. Well, let me just say basically what is on the information is on the website. I hope it's pretty clear, but it works as follows. There is a set fee for anyone who applies for this, any part of the world. The set fee is 25,000 euros. So whichever part of the world you're from, that is a set fee. However, we have created a number of scholarships, and for those who are awarded the scholarships are valued at 10,000 euros. Those are quite substantial scholarships, higher than many scholarships that are offered in this program elsewhere usually. So I think that these are going to be very attractive for students. And also, international students who are interested in applying should look at the details of the UCD office website, because there are also other international scholarships apart from the ones that are set up for this program that students may be eligible for. So there's a number of things that students can do in terms of looking at scholarships. In terms of fee payment, I don't have details to hand, but they can be, I think, paid across the 3 trimesters. They don't have to be paid all at once. But on that sort of matter, I think if you contact the International Office, we'll get more detail about that aspect, or I can direct you to it if you contact me.
Okay. Moving to the next question. Next question is regarding the if we do the program from the university, will we get the we will get the degree from the university? Will there be any certification or any degree that we will also get from CNN Academy?
The degree is awarded by University College Dublin, but the degree, of course, will recognise the role of CNN, and all paperwork that we can produce will be produced beyond that, will be supportive both from CNN and UCD. And I know that Ali will be, supporting that from the CNN wing as well.
Absolutely, and again, the degree is from UCD. UCD is the academic body that will be certifying this degree. But you will also have a CNN Academy certificate of completion of the course at the end, but that is not a accredited degree. The degree will be coming from UCD.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Moving to next question, we are going to take a live question. So the student I'm going to unmute is Raj Purkreshta. Raj, I would request you to please unmute yourself and ask your question.
Yes, ma'am. Actually, I wanted to know about the programs of I wanted to opt for masters, and that's in information technology. So I wanted to know about that.
Could you just tell me a bit more, Raj, about your interest? So this particular program is in media and journalism and international affairs. Are you interested in that aspect of this, or are you interested in a different program?
So actually, I'm interested in something which is related to computer science. Actually, I'm still confused with my which course should I opt for. Basically, I've done my bachelor's from electronics and communication, but then what I thought of electronics and communication, I didn't get that in during my bachelor's. So I was pretty good at that time. Also, I was doing something from computer science background or from IT background. So I thought I should go I should continue with those things only apart from electronics and communication, sir.
Okay, I understand better. Thank you for that. I would ask you to look at this in one of two ways. If you're interested in working from your computer science background in toward a journalistic career, then this is relevant. If you're more interested in looking for a master's program in computer science, then you do need to look for something different. And indeed, UCD does offer those, and I would encourage you to look at the UCD site. But back to the first one, what I meant there was that the background in computer science has the potential to be very relevant to aspects of what we do. And I'm thinking particularly about the emergence of data journalism. One of the optional programs or optional modules that we will offer will be in data analytics. And for students who have a background in computer science, that's a very good fit and a very good way in to the study and the enactment of journalism today, where data analytics are becoming increasingly important. So there is an aspect of that that ties with your interest. If that interests you, please contact me. I'm happy to say more about it. But if your career choice is much more in computer science, please look at that side of the university.
So actually, as you said, if I see from the aspect of journalism, that sounds pretty interesting and pretty tempting also. So okay. Can you just brief something about it so that I'll have a better knowledge about it?
Well, it really depends on where you want to put your interest there. I mean, it could be that your interest is in terms of the kind of content and news terrain around matters that are germane to your first degree and your primary interest in computer engineering. So it may be that you want to look at, for example, matters of cybersecurity, which is one of the biggest stories in the world right now, and it's only going to get bigger, right? So I would imagine that coming in with a background like yours in computer science, that might be an area that you would be attracted to look and maybe to specialize in, not least because you would also, I think, be able to utilize an interest in data and its management and how to utilize it in relationship to those aspects. And that's just one sort of theme and way into this particular program that would utilize the knowledge that you already have. But as I say, I would need to know more about your interests. I'd be very happy to talk to you in a one-to-one if you want to set it up to talk about that in more detail. But that's just an example. Ali, did you have any thoughts on any of that?
No, and I have to drop off, Liam. Apologies for that. But I think the overall sort of message that I'm hearing from you is that this program is also available to people who have maybe done a undergraduate degree in a different field, be it computer science, be it engineering, be it agricultural sciences, whatever it is, and you might have a passion for journalism, for storytelling. So this program is open to you. This is a way for you to sort of get into the field of journalism and the field of sort of international reporting as well. So we are open to seeing applicants from different backgrounds, from different sort of, sciences come to us. But obviously what we want to see is, why do you want to do this program? It's a competitive program. You need to be passionate about news. You need to be passionate about storytelling and passionate about international affairs. But if you can show us that you are, then your sort of academic background shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah, thanks, Ali, and thanks for being with us. I know you have to get off now, and we'll be very happy to keep taking questions. Thanks, Ali. Take care.
Thank you so much, Raj, for your question. Moving to the next student. So this question is regarding an interesting question from the student. He has asked that what is the value of MA journalism course in India? As in, once we finish the course and come back here, will it hold a good value in India?
Yes, I believe this particular course will, not just because it's an MA from a major university in Ireland, but because of the CNN input. You will not have competitors coming from other MAs from the United Kingdom or Ireland that has that. That is so important. It is so different. And as you could hear from everything Ali Reza is saying, CNN are absolutely involved in this. They're not sitting on the sidelines. They're very proud of this. They see this as something they want to, make work. So they are putting a lot of energy and a lot of resource into this, which means that those people who will be trained through this program will be trained to very high CNN standards. If you take that back to India or to any other part of the world, that is a major, major calling card, given the status of CNN as not only the world's largest international news organization, but arguably its best in terms of its technical standards and so on and so forth. So it's a remarkable opportunity. And I think this particular master's will be a very significant calling card for those who want to move into the news industry with knowledge and support from CNN.
Sorry, I was on mute. Okay, moving to the next question. This is regarding the job prospects and the average pay package that a student could expect if they complete the program from the university. So this is a very common question from 2-3 students, and they are asking for what would be the job prospect for them in Ireland and how much they should expect as an average pay package for themselves.
The second part of that is really impossible for me to speculate on it. It depends at what entry point one begins.
Yeah.
It's really hard. The first part, and of course, you could go online and you can see examples of those entry points, but there's so many of them. The first part of that I can say a bit more about, which is what sort of job prospects. And I think that here what you have to do is think about, okay, what journalism and international affairs, what is it going to help you move toward in job terms, especially with that CNN signature on it as well, right? And I think there's a range of things. Now, one is obviously international news itself. So when you're talking about CNN, BBC, Al Jazeera, whatever it is, there are a number of big international news organizations which are always hiring. But I think that's rather a narrow way to look at it. I think that the international news is much bigger than that. It's also, for example, the job opportunities in the big NGOs, okay, non-governmental organizations, the big IGOs, international government organizations. Think of the International Organization for Migration, the World Bank, the United Nations. All of these large international organizations have their own media units, right? They are hiring journalists, they are hiring news producers. And those are the sort of areas, as well as the CNNs and the BBCs, that we are preparing people to work in. So there's quite a range there. I mean, think of human rights organizations, immigration organizations, women's rights organizations. You know, there's a massive sector which involves international news production. And that's the sort of sectors that we're helping to train people to work in.
Moving to next question, this is regarding the student has asked that what kind of background you are looking for such programs for MA in journalism. What is the background that you are looking for in a student, that what should they have studied, if there is any work experience, in what particular field they should have a work experience, or what is that can help them in getting admitted to this particular program if they apply.
Yeah, I think we're very happy to take students from very diverse backgrounds in all respects, demographically, terms of study, parts of the world. You know, we really are looking very broadly for what we consider to be the best students to take forward. Now, that does not mean that they have to have done a first degree in journalism or be journalists already. It doesn't mean that at all. I mean, already we've had a call here or a comment from someone who's working with a background in computer engineering. But nonetheless, it's very suitable for them to come forward, because what they want to do is take that into a journalistic frame and a journalistic job environment. And most disciplines, you can start off and work in that direction. I mean, consider how broad journalism is in terms of its content and its focus in terms of disciplines and parts of the world and issues. So the background degree that you have is not necessarily very important. It's relevant if you want to directly build on it. What's as important, if not more important for us, is have you got any other form of work experience that indicates your interest in journalism? For some of you, that may mean you've already begun as a journalist. For others, it may be that you're a student, but you have an active journalistic interest that you show in other ways, maybe through blogging or making movies or doing podcasts or whatever it might be. So we're interested in that side of you if you're doing that. And then the third area we're interested in then is what you tell us about yourself in your application. Those students who get through the first stage of application will all be interviewed, and that's a very important stage, because there we really want to hear you express yourself and your interests in journalism and a career in international journalism. And that's what's important, not your first degree. It's really what you can present to us about your desire to work in this world.
Okay, moving to next question. This is regarding that will the program be taught in the university, or will the student also get an opportunity to do some part of the program at CNN Academy also?
CNN Academy has set up a space within University College Dublin. They have their own offices there, and they're sharing workshop spaces with us. So we've put the two together, which is great. The key person who will lead that in Dublin is Ali Riza, who's been on the call. He's there physically in Dublin doing the training, and he will bring in people from CNN both physically, who will come to Dublin. Some of them will come in virtually online, but the CNN presence is now in Dublin along with us at UCD.
Okay, so the next question is regarding the scholarship opportunities for the students. So what should be the eligibility criteria for a scholarship if a student is looking to, looking for a program with a scholarship?
If you're applying for the scholarship, you will see details online on how to make the application, how to fill it in, and so on. And what we're looking for there is really very similar to what I said before about that third stage of our interest. We're looking there for you to tell us about yourself as someone who wants to advance a career in international journalism. And we want you to display that interest, and maybe send us materials if you've already produced materials. Those are the things we want from a good scholarship application. And as I've said, the scholarships are relatively generous, €10,000. We hope that a number of students, in fact, we know a number of students will be seeking to take advantage of those. So we look forward to those applications for the scholarship. Oh, and by the way, you can